Thank you. Welcome to Build. I'm Ricky Camilleri. From her first turn in Gus Van Sant's classic Drugstore Cowboy to Roller Girl in the just turned 20 years old Boogie Nights to the stripper with a heart of gold in The Hangover, Heather Graham has been one of the brightest actresses in movies for a few decades. Now, she can add writer-director to her resume with Half Magic, a wonderful new sex comedy told from the perspective of a woman in Hollywood finding her voice and power in a sea of male nastiness. Let's take a look.
Hi, sweetie. These two people are not married, and they're going to have premarital sex.
Do you want to go to heaven, or do you want to go to hell?
I'm sorry. Did I just say that out loud?
Now it is time to honor the breasts of the women in the room. I would like you to turn to the person next to you.
Hi. Is it possible we could do a three-way?
I've never done a three-way.
Why are you in this class? You seem so together.
Ah, yeah, I'm naked.
I really think you should come over.
I want to have hot sex with someone who's really nice to me.
Let's just go have sex in my office.
No.
I've been dating this guy for 2 years.
I love you as his friend and as a sexual partner.
I want love.
Why do you always call me a dirty little slut?
Just because maybe you're jealous that I'm more successful than you.
Why are we sitting around talking about how sad our lives are?
I just wanted to have a baby. You're right. We should be talking about how great we are.
I want there to be a lot of blood in this scene.
Why does the woman who enjoys sex always have to die in horror films? Maybe she could fight back.
I think that's probably the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life, so probably can't do that one.
We talk about pleasing men, but what about pleasing us?
Babe, can I leave my laundry here? Get it on Thursday?
You want me to do your laundry while you date other women?
You should do your laundry. Yeah, you are so hot, like really hot. Let's make a pact to be with good guys only. Guys who treat us great, like we deserve.
Well, there's this guy. He asked me out. He's super attractive.
Ah!
You should go for it.
Move over. There's a new skank in town.
Want to go for a walk?
Yeah, I'd really like that. Having sex with me is a religious experience.
I liked your script.
Thank you.
She's a good writer.
I want you to do my laundry now.
Oh my gosh, wait, I didn't groom. Dress up.
I had the best sex of my life.
Boss me around some more? Kind of turned me on.
You look so hot, I want to have sex with you.
Okay, no, I just...
No. Good guys only. Good guys only.
Jerk sex?
No jerk sex.
Everybody, please welcome Heather Graham. Hey.
Hey,
Thanks so much for being here.
thanks for having me here.
Congratulations on writing and directing your first film. I have to say, I think the first time I interviewed you, this may be the third or fourth time, I think the first time I interviewed you was a few years ago, and you briefly mentioned in that interview, you were like, I'm gonna make a movie. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And you were like, yeah, I'm working on a movie right now. And then the next time I interviewed you, you were like, working on the movie, and the last time it was like, it's shot, it's edited, and here it is. That's so great.
I've been talking about making this movie for 7 years to everyone, like all my friends, everyone. So when we had the premiere this week, everyone was like, wow, you've been doing this for 7 years and now you made it. It's pretty awesome.
What does that feel like, having finished something after 7 years?
I feel like I ran a marathon and I just got to the end and I'm just like, oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
It's like a wonderful feeling / kind of lonely feeling a little bit, isn't it? You've kind of let go of something.
It's kind of a wonderful feeling. I feel tired, but it feels really satisfying.
Yeah. So let's talk about when you first started thinking about this idea. Where did it come from?
Well, I was going through a breakup and I felt upset about the breakup, and I thought, can I find a way to laugh at the things that upset me and have a sense of humor about my life? So I decided to write down some bad dating experiences that I had had and find the humor. And also, I had worked on developing movies that I wanted to act in that were female stories for about 8 years, and I couldn't get any of them made. So I was really frustrated, and I wanted to...
You had that great movie that you told me about last time. That was
Triangle Fire.
Yeah. Such an amazing idea.
I know.
Hopefully you can kind of...
Yes. Well, I was developing a movie about the Triangle Factory Fire of 1911, and so I got so frustrated that these things weren't getting made that I put that in my movie as well. It's about a female filmmaker trying to make movies about women in Hollywood, and she works for a chauvinistic, sexist, sexual harasser boss. So it's kind of funny to write this and then have it come out after all these stories in the news came out.
Yeah, you know, you want to think that he is beyond evil and that's like, there's really nobody like him actually in the world. But I think I've read some interviews and you said, no, he's kind of actually based off of some people.
Yeah, I mean, when I first wrote the script, some people were saying, well, his character seems so mean, and is this really real? And now that all these stories have come out in the news, it's pretty clear that, like, there's much meaner guys out there than this guy. Yeah.
You've known in your life as well before
Yeah.
as well, so he's probably based off of some of those people,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he is a mixture of a few different people that I know. He's definitely, there are guys like that. And I've done some interviews recently and talked to journalists, and I talked to this one journalist, and she said, I have interviewed that guy.
She knew who it was.
Well, I think there's more
or at
than
least
one,
that guy.
unfortunately. It's
Yeah.
not just one, yeah.
So what made you go with a woman who's sort of working in development and trying to get movies made rather than sort of an actress?
Well, I wanted to go with, I just think that there should be more female filmmakers. Basically, I think it's 7% female filmmakers in Hollywood making films. That's so low. I think, you know, they're not greenlighting enough films with female directors, female stories. I wanted to tell a movie about something I care about, which is female, like women getting to tell our stories, and with female directors and female writers, and how important that is.
I love that this film is not just about you know, empowerment in the workplace, but it ties it into a kind of sexual empowerment as well. Like these women discover themselves, their power sexually, and then they at the same time are also discovering themselves their power in the workplace. Can you talk about when you found those two things and linking them?
Yes. Well, I mean, I grew up Catholic, and I was told by my father that I was going to go to hell if I had premarital sex. So I knew intellectually that I didn't believe that, but it's kind of instills a sense of fear and shame in you about your sexuality. So the movie is about my journey of how I learned to let go of that and to see my sexuality as spiritual and to just love myself and accept my sexuality.
Yeah, but your other characters as well are kind of discovering that in the film as well.
Yeah.
Do you see a connection between sort of a woman, I don't want to just say a woman, but someone being empowered in the workplace and also being empowered like emotionally and sexually?
Well, I think through the ages, men have used women as the scapegoat for their sexuality. If you look at why do women have to wear burqas, you know, in Afghanistan, it's because men are like, we don't want to be attracted and turned on to women, and they use the women. If you look at honor killings, you know, I mean, women are to blame a lot of times for men's bad sexual predatory behavior, which is so wrong. And I feel like now that is being reversed by the fact that people who have been the target of this kind of behavior are now getting the blame instead of the victim getting the blame. It used to be there was so much victim shaming, but now I think people are starting to see that, no, you need to put Harvey Weinstein in jail. You need to put James Toback in jail. These people are telling their stories and they're being supported, and I think that's so important.
Absolutely. So you get the script ready, you get a producer on board. How did you go about casting? How did the whole thing fall into place?
Well, it took a really long time, and there's some lines in the movie where you know, her boss says to her, people don't care about women's stories, women's movies don't make money, which people told me when I was developing films and trying to get them made. So
probably people still say that, even though it's been proven that it's not true.
I mean, if you look at it, like all the superhero movies that have been made, there's only been one with a female lead, which is Wonder Woman, which was a massive hit. But like, are they making more? I know they're making Wonder Woman sequel, but why aren't they making now a bunch more female superhero movies?
Why isn't there a Supergirl or a
Yeah,
Batgirl
like,
or any of this stuff?
They've dredged up every male superhero they can think of, but I mean, look at how well it does. Like, look at how well Wonder Woman did when they did do a movie like that.
And we're not just seeing that with women-led films. We're seeing that with films about African Americans.
It's amazing.
Hispanic community, like the sort of medium-budget film is sort of being saved by telling these stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, as you said, you were trying to make the film, and people had said that movies about women don't make any money. But when did you start casting? How did you find your?
Well, first we had to find the money. We had these financiers, and we were going to make it in New York, and then it turned out that the financing fell through. So we had to restart, and then we shot it in L.A., and our financier is Bill Scheinberg. He's wonderful. And my friend Michael Nichols, he helped me find Bill. And I'm just so grateful that he was willing to take a chance on our movie.
What was it like for you on set directing?
It was amazing. It was so amazing. I loved it. There was incredible actors in the movie. I was just pinching myself that these really talented people agreed to work with me, and I just felt like I was a fan sometimes just watching their work, and they were so funny. I felt I had just to sit behind the monitor and like squash my hand against my mouth so I wouldn't laugh sometimes because they would just crack me up.
Now, I imagine you've been in the industry now since, like, your first movie was, like, 88, 89, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you've been in the industry for, you know, a few years now. I imagine the majority of the time that you have been directed on a film set, it's been by a man, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can probably count on two hands, if that, the amount of times you've been directed by a woman.
Well, 7% out of 100% is like nothing. That's so tragic, really.
Did you find that while you were directing and just sort of your vibe gave a completely different kind of atmosphere on set than when a man is directing?
Well, a lot of people at the end of the job said this was the funnest movie I've ever worked on and that I had the best time. And I felt really good about that. I think I just wanted to create a safe, nurturing, supportive environment where people felt like they could do their best work. And I think I did it. Yeah.
How do you think you did that? What was your
I think it's just that I love what I was doing so much, like I care about it. I wanted to find humor in empowering women. I wanted to empower women, but do it in a fun, sexy way. And I just really believed in what I was doing so much that I think it came across. You know, I just did it out of love, not for money, just for like love.
You didn't find any difficulty at all directing your first film?
The difficulty was getting the money. It wasn't that easy getting the distribution. Getting the money, getting the distribution, hardest part. Getting the publicity has been great because there's not that many movies like this, so people have been supportive, and shooting the movie was fun, but finding the money, that was the hardest thing.
And like we said, you started making this movie 7 years ago, or started thinking about it at least 7 years ago, and it's actually coming out as this conversation is, I think, it's a bigger conversation than it's ever been.
Yeah, I know. I feel like actually it's divine timing because if that first version hadn't fallen through, then we might not be coming out right now where people care about this issue. So luckily it's coming out, I think, at a time where people are receptive and they want to support women and they want to hear female stories and they're open to seeing things in a different way and saying maybe the world is more sexist than we thought and maybe we can, do better.
Do you ever wish Chris D'Elia's performance is hilarious?
I know, he's so good.
He's really great and he's really funny, but I think like you said he is playing it for jokes a lot of the time. Coming out right now, do you ever sort of wonder if you should have had him be like more realistic or more similar to a Harvey Weinstein or what we know about Harvey Weinstein right now?
Well, I think it's a fine line because I knew I wanted to do a comedy. If you were really doing a Harvey Weinstein story, then like women would be getting raped. And I think you'd feel like this is tragic and I want to cry, So I wanted to walk the line between how do I tell a story that's about sexism and sexual empowerment and female empowerment and not make it like just a total bummer. So I tried to walk the line to be like, this is still a comedy and it's a feel-good movie, but we're dealing with serious subjects.
Now, you've said that you... there's a lot of stuff in here about ex-boyfriends and breakups. Is there anything that exes of yours have sort of seen and been like, oh, come on?
No, I don't know that. No, I haven't. I mean, not maybe they haven't.
Screened it.
They
for
haven't
your
seen it yet. Maybe. Yeah,
you
I don't know.
An ex's screening yet?
Oh yeah, I'm curious what they'll think. I don't know.
Were you worried about that when you were writing it, or were you just like, whatever? This is my life. I can put whatever I want in here.
I mean, people are mixtures. It's not like one character is just one person. And I think I'm sorry to say it, but I think sometimes a lot of guys are clueless and they might not even recognize their own behavior. They'd be like, I'm amazing. I never do anything like this. I think a lot of guys don't always realize what they're doing.
I would agree with that as a man. That's one of the reasons that I can't be around. I don't necessarily like being around large groups of men. I'm always like, are you guys looking at this is awful what we're talking about.
I know. I think there's such ingrained sexism in our culture that we don't even recognize it. I think if you go back and watch older movies, you can say, oh, that's really uncool how they're treating women. But I think today we still have it, and I think it's great to go, okay, let's look for it and change it.
I can go back and watch a movie from 2 years ago and be like, that's awful how they're treating women based off of how we feel and what we know now.
I know.
Was there any style or ideas that you took from great directors that you worked before that you thought of when you were doing this, or were you just kind of like trying to keep it in your own head and do your own thing?
Well, I thought about Paul Thomas Anderson and how supportive he is to his actors. He really makes you feel loved and supported, and he's so passionate. And I thought about David O. Russell and how he moves the camera a lot, and Martin Scorsese, like their shots are always moving, and Wes Anderson as well. He's always moving his camera. And I like Wes Anderson's quirky point of view. He's like, this is my perspective on life. It's slightly, exaggerated, but it's also true and real.
How much of your character do you feel like is based off of you?
It's all based off of me.
It's all based off of you. Do you think this is kind of your most personal performance?
Yes, I mean, it's not like I've been in all of these exact situations, but all of the types of situations I have been in them, yes.
And there's a piece of the film that I know is also from real life, which is these sort of spiritual circles that you have with female friends that you started. Can you talk about those?
Yes. Well, I have some friends, and we get together, and we'll make wishes for things. And it's really fun, and it's really powerful. Like, we'll get together, and, like, I made wishes to make this movie. And I'm like, I want to make a movie about female empowerment. And I got inspired by hanging out with them to make this movie because I thought it's so powerful when you have friends that really love and support you. It really inspires you to be your best self. So I just thought, I want to celebrate that and make a movie about things that are disturbing, but find a way to make it happy and inspiring and empowering.
What made you want to make it so happy and funny and inspiring rather than actually disturbing?
Well, because I feel like, it's Academy Awards. You go to the movies, they're all depressing. And it's always the woman getting the short end of the stick. It's like, oh my God, let's watch, 10 Years a Slave and watch this girl get whipped until she's dead practically, and it's like, this is great art. It's like, I want to watch some great art about a woman like that's happy and that has a good life and that something great happens to her. Like, why does good art always have to be depressing and disturbing and so dark?
That's great. That's a great idea. You brought up Paul Thomas Anderson. It is the 20th anniversary, I think, this year, or that last year was the 20th anniversary of Boogie Nights, right? What is your fondest memory from that set?
I mean, all the people that I got to meet and work with were so incredible. And just, he's a very supportive director. Like, he would just go, you're fucking great. You're so fucking great. I love what you're doing. And I tried to do that with my actors. Just like, but I felt it. I wasn't just trying to do it. I was like, I'm so happy you're here. Like, I would just be like, you're fucking genius. And I'm so happy you're here. I did feel that. And I told them that.
That's so cool that you do that. Did you, when you were on Boogie Nights, I think I was sent this question today to ask you, did you wear the roller skates all the time or did you take them off after takes?
did. I mean, if I thought like, okay, I'm going to really just kill myself if I'm wearing the roller skates, like sometimes we're on like a really steep hill or whatever, but I tried to wear it almost all the time. But it's cute. Yeah, it's
the pool scene
dangerous.
where you're shooting like wasn't everybody kind of there the whole time they were shooting the pool scene?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I tried to wear them as much as possible.
Do you still wear skates every now and then?
I haven't worn them recently, no.
So you finished the film. What was so hard about finding distribution? Is it still hard to sell a movie that's about
because when they
women?
make a movie, they look at previous movies and go, "Oh, has this made money?" And they don't make that many female movies, so they just decide, "Oh, this model doesn't work." Even though that it has been shown that it does work, it's total sexism that these movies aren't getting made more. It's like there's like this deciding body that just goes, "People don't care about that."
Well, it's because the deciding body so often is men.
Yes.
And men have there is an innate, people relate to their own story, and I think it takes a moment to get out of yourself to see somebody else's story and try to live in someone else's shoes. So if men are controlling the money and controlling distribution, like, I don't get this.
They control, yeah. So if this movie is geared towards women. I hope men enjoy it, but I did make it for women. Oh, good. I'm so glad. But I was, talking to my publicist about how many journalists are men, and that if a movie isn't made for men, then sometimes, they don't understand it or they may not support it. So then it's harder to get a female-driven movie to the women that might enjoy it if the whole decision-making body is made up of men that really just want to see male movies.
Right, or they want to see, as you said, women be destroyed for like artistic reasons.
Honestly, like being an actress, I feel like almost every script you read is like, and then a woman gets raped, but then the man saves her and he stops the evil guy, and then there's his wife. So you can either be the woman getting raped or his wife, and it's like, and then the guy's doing all these adventures, and the wife's like, don't get hurt. So your part is either, I'm gonna get, I'm the victim, or, honey, be careful.
You're like, I don't know about this, honey. Please, well, call us when you're safe.
I mean, that's the women's role in most movies, I mean, how many movies do we have to watch about a serial killer who kills young women, and then some guy has to stop him, and all the female roles are like women getting killed?
How often have you found yourself in the position of turning down all roles like that?
Well, I mean, as an actress in Hollywood, you have to take a lot of jobs because you're like, I want to work, so you make the best of it, and doing something like this is just a passion project that obviously took me a really long time, and I really didn't make a lot of money. I just did it for,
I think the only thing that you could do after a number of years of being a working actor.
It was just like my frustration. I'm like, I need to express these things, and I want to put a positive message out in the world for women to look at if they feel disheartened by watching all this male-driven media, and they want to watch something that's for us to feel good about ourselves.
I think that's so great that you went for such positivity rather than just going for the kind of like, look at how much it sucks for women.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, what's next? Me Too, time's up. What's next? What's next is us taking back our power, feeling good about ourselves, enjoying our sexuality, and feeling like these gorgeous goddesses who can have whatever we want.
I agree with that. Let's get some questions from the audience. Who has a question? Right here.
Hey. Hey, there.
Oh, hi. Okay.
So I was wondering, I've read before that you were in a school production of The Wizard of Oz, and I was wondering what about that made you want to pursue a career in acting, and especially after you left UCLA, how you knew, I'm going to make it no matter what.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was in The Wizard of Oz. And actually, yeah, I think that was around the moment that I decided I want to be an actress. And it was so fun. I think I just, in school where you just try to find something that you're good at. And I just felt like I could get cast in plays, and that felt really fun. And then you asked me, why did I decide to be an actress? Or
I think, how did you know you were going to make
Oh,
it
how
after
did
you
I know?
left UCLA?
I didn't know I was going to make it, but I did start getting jobs when I was in high school before I went to UCLA, and I think I just loved it. I got Drugstore Cowboy and License to Drive actually right when I started to go to UCLA. So I just loved it. I didn't know I was going to make it. I just thought, I love doing this, and I'm just going to go for it, whatever happens. Like, just whether or not I can succeed, I just love doing it.
This is going to be maybe a weird question, but is that so cool that you're in like a movie like Drugstore Cowboy and a movie like Boogie Nights, where you know that in 50 years that is still something that people are going to be looking at and watching?
It's badass. I mean, I'm lucky I got to work with these cool directors who just made excellent movies that people still watch. So I feel incredibly lucky, super lucky.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where you have the experience of shooting it on the days, and you know, it might not be the same thing to you when you watched it because you remember it as shooting it, but like in 50 years, people are going to be like, you know, you were in Boogie Nights.
That's awesome. No, I mean, I think I'm talented, and I know I'm also lucky. Like, I was in the right place at the right time, and I was talented, and I'm just very lucky to work with those people.
Next question.
Hi, Heather. First of all, I want to say congratulations on directing and writing your first film. What was it like filming this and working with it? Like, what was your different experiences? What did you learn from this?
Well, I learned that you can make your movie happen if you're persistent and don't give up and have a good support system, and that other people do want to see what I want to see, and just make what you love, do what you love, that it's really rewarding, and that even if it takes a long time, it feels so fulfilling to creatively say what you want to say.
Angela Kinsey, she's super funny from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
She's so funny. Yeah.
What was you said, 7 years to make this film. Before you found the producer to, get you into production, what were some of that, and I mostly want to focus on the positive here, but what were some of the things that you heard when you were having production meetings about this before you got the money, or you were pitching it to people? What were some of the comments that you got?
People are just like, you're not a big enough star for us to give you the money. Like, if you get us a famous man, we'll make it. It's basically like, you're not enough, and pretty much most female actresses are not enough, but if you get us one of like the 5 huge men, then we'll make it. Get us like a male star.
One of the 5.
I mean, especially when I was developing things in like the Triangle Factory Fire, it was like, well, we'll only make this if you get us one of like the top male stars. We don't care. Like the female star, there's only a few women that they consider to be bankable, but they consider men to be much more bankable, and they won't give you money unless you have a huge guy star. And if you're making a female story, it's not as easy to get a male huge star, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Where does Leo show up in the Triangle Factory?
He's not going
Fire?
to, yeah.
Keep it up, ladies. And then like walks out.
Yeah.
I think I have time for one more question. Right here.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
I'm Lance. How you doing,
Hey,
Heather?
good, how
Nice
are
to
you?
meet you.
Nice meeting you.
First of all, congratulations on stepping up from the world of acting to the world of directing and writing.
Thank you.
That's great. Maybe it's a new area of your life now you're entering into. My question to you is, first of all, you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
And my question is, how do you stay looking great and in shape? Like, what's your regimen for exercise, and
That's
what
sweet.
you do?
Thank you. Yeah, I do yoga and I meditate, and I think just having positive people around you who are supportive and loving, and do what you love, and just I think you got to just decide that you think you're attractive, because if you look around, do other people think? Just decide, I feel good about myself, and then just that's everything, really.
It's about confidence, and that's what you're trying to
just love
relate
yourself.
to other women around the world.
Yeah, I think you
beauty
just have to love yourself, and and I think you have to do things that you want to do. I feel like in the past, sometimes I was a people pleaser, and I didn't always do what I want, but I think if you make yourself happy, then that radiates.
Heather, I love the film. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How can people see Half Magic?
Okay, well, it's in 10 cities in the theaters, and you can also get it on VOD.
Absolutely. Heather Graham, everybody.
Okay.
Round of applause.
Thank you.